Welcome to this video of a delivery inspection of a Generation 2 Rivian R1S. Now, this is my personal vehicle. I just picked it up last week, and I think it's time for a delivery inspection video, just like I have one for the Tesla, which you can click on right over here. Now, I'm not new to Rivian. This is my third Rivian. We actually have an R1T we are leasing, and we used to have a other R1T, which was a quad. We have a dual one, but today's topic is about this beautiful looking white R1S, and we're going to talk about what to look for in terms of quality inspection on your delivery day. And we're also going to talk about the difference between this second generation R1S and the R1T, having owned it for about a week now as an owner of current generation Gen1s. And we'll also talk about things that I think are potentially going to cause a lot of problems for Rivian down the road. So let's get into the video. This is a dual model R1S, second generation 2025 model. This is the long range max pack. So it's a max pack battery, which is rated at approximately 410 miles or so. But in this configuration, it changes that 410 miles to about 370 miles. So this is the Glacier White. And then we opted for the all-terrain package. Now, the all-terrain package gives you 20-inch off-road tires. The reason we went for this is most people don't know this, but the 21-inch has been discontinued, but the 21-inch tires don't necessarily have a lot of options out there for replacement. Now, with the all-terrain package upgrade, what you get is you get these beautiful gunmetal gray wheels. You also get an underbody protection for this for when you're off-roading. The underbody protection for this has been updated in the sense that now in the older ones, you used to have the screws protruding from the bottom, but now they've learned and they have recessed the screws for this underbody protection. With the all-terrain package, you also get a spare tire, which is here in the load floor. Now, the all-terrain package spare tire is located under this shelf, and then when you lift this up, you've got your donut spare in here. It's not a full-size spare for the R1S, but with the R1T, you do get a full-size spare. It's a shame that they couldn't build this up to fit the full-size spare, but I understand why they did it, for weight savings. You also get the air compressor in here as part of the all-terrain package, which we really wanted because we overland, we off-road a lot. We got the air compressor in here. It goes up and down, and then you also have the hose that goes in there. Now, the hose that goes in there is actually right here, and this is where the hose is for the air compressor. So part of the all-terrain package, you get the off-road tires, the 20-inch gunmetal chrome. I love those versus the black ones. You get the air compressor as part of the all-terrain package, and then you also get a donut spare. For $3,700, I think it's absolutely worth it because the rims alone without the all-terrain package are actually almost $4,000. But in addition to all those things you get for $3,700, you also get the underbody protection. In our configuration purchasing, they don't actually show the donut spare on the list of things you get as part of the all-terrain package, but it's actually there. So if you're worried about it, all-terrain package, you do get a donut. I highly recommend finding yourself a donut because if you're in the middle of nowhere and puncture your wheels, you will absolutely appreciate having that donut. This one, we spec'd out the Ocean Coast interior. A lot of people have the misconception that white seats like these get dirty. They do, but they're so easy to clean because it's not really leather, it's plastic fake leather. Now we're talking a little bit more about the delivery inspection of things to watch for. Now, just like any new electric car company, Rivian is a new company, so you have to watch out for certain things. They are going to have a lot of panel gaps. This, for example, here, the fender and the bumper do not quite match. So for perspective, this is how wide the panel gap is. You can kind of notice as I'm going down, it kind of goes right up to there. If you look on this side, which is the driver's side, there's literally almost no panel gap. Working all the way down, there's no panel gap. This is something I noticed later on, and I've submitted a ticket for it. People tend to complain about their Rivians, both the Gen 1s and Gen 2s, and I have actually noticed this a lot in our Gen 1 R1T, is rattling. Now, I have taken my vehicle into service several times. They were never able to resolve the rattling, but I found it. Some of the rattling you hear is actually this plastic panel gap here. You have to inspect it to make sure that it's actually screwed on properly with the bolt. or else what you hear is as you're driving down the road, you're going to be hearing this type of noise all day long. So that's something to make sure you check out on delivery day. Charging ports for some of these don't always align properly. So as I'm opening this charging port here, it opens up. But for some that I've seen in our Gen 1, once you close it, it doesn't quite align properly. And that's something that you can also submit a ticket for. In addition to the underbody rattling they are finding, is this. This right here is another rattle. People don't realize this, but the flashlight also rattles. Even though you have a nice flashlight here, sometimes what I do is I just take it out and store it somewhere, because that rattle is what you can hear when you're in the cabin. The window here seems to be pinching the inside of the outside rubber. Now this I only noticed after driving the vehicle for a couple days, but it's something I've submitted a ticket for too. It's important that as you're having this vehicle, you also inspect things. For example, this part on my door is lifting for no reason, and I have no idea why this part is just flimsy like this. So I'll be submitting a ticket for that also. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now Rivian re-engineered the door opening and closing latch. This is what they've done. It's now gone to an electronic locking and opening latch, because once you pull it, it kind of releases. But here's the problem they have. The problem is that on the other side of the vehicle, it's not the same. So if you look inside here, the latch makes a big bang. So what they did was they filed down the metal part here to make it open and close properly. Once I try and open the door. Another thing to inspect also is the door, which is kind of a little bit of a hard thing, because you used to always close it like that, but now it doesn't close so all the way. So this is all because the new door latch. So now you really have to slam the door really hard to close it. Now we're going to talk about the difference between the Gen 2 Rivian and the Generation 1. As we go through this video, the way I'll be doing it is that we're going to start from the front and work our way to the back. We'll start by talking about all the hardware changes, physical things that you can notice. And then when we get into the interior of the vehicle, we'll talk about the hardware changes they've done. And then we'll also be talking about the software changes that are a little bit different from Gen 1. The headlights are a big deal because we loved our old headlights. Now they are using what's called the Rivian Adventure Dynamic Headlights. What it basically is it's fancy words for headlights that actually swivel left and right. And as you're turning the vehicle, it follows you. One thing I appreciate about these is now it seems like they now have the LED matrix built into them, and I'm going to have B-roll of the lights actually lighting up parts of the road as you're turning, and it seems that it lights up different sections as it's turning, and that's also enabled in the software. Now have this indication lights that are actually indicating your charge. Each one of these bars that are down here are actually representing 10% state of charge. They did change the halo lights in here. They call them the stadium headlights, and they've now moved the turn signals from the top here now to the bottom. Now Rivian's excuse for doing this was because they said normally you have to dim one side of a headlight in order to put the turn signal on. I thought it was cool, it was fun, because I liked having the turn signals in here because everyone knew it was a Rivian coming. This is sequential. It's still nice, but it doesn't have that cool feeling that I think they should have kept in there. The daytime running lights, which have changed now to more of an angled feel. It's more chiseled and less flat like Gen 1. And again, I'll be showing you a lot of B-roll of the Gen 1 since I also have a Gen 1. Charging area. So now in this area, you now have an eject button. That kind of means that you can stop the charge from here, which I've tested. But one thing I've noticed that I think is a little bit of an Easter egg is now they have a little LED light in here too. So at night, that actually lights up your charging area. Whilst in Gen 1, which is right over there, they used to actually have the green light around here. One other thing they've also done, I've noticed, is this part here looks like it's replaceable. So it seems that they might be gearing up and preparing for the switch to the North American charging standard. So this part looks like it's all replaceable also. But with the Gen 2s, the Rivian, where it says Rivian, it's now black on the outside of it. Gen 1, there used to be a camera back here. Now that camera on this fender helped point the back for this, but now that they've moved that camera, they've moved it up to this part here on the mirror, which I think is a smart decision because that gives them a better vantage point. In addition to that, all the cameras on this whole vehicle have been upgraded. A lot of them are now high resolution, and I believe this is actually what Rivian wanted to do from the beginning, but COVID and all these restrictions of supply chain management actually had them build a vehicle that was subpar, but they tried to fix it with software, but there's nothing you can do if the hardware isn't really there. The front camera also has its own washer nozzle here. They didn't have that in generation 1, but now they've added it, and here it is, and it'll sprinkle water in and it'll just wash the camera on the front. I think it's super cool. The only problem is if you're an off-road and you go on gravel roads, you will definitely have to find something to cover this so your lens doesn't get scratched up. Now you get a smaller frunk. It's not as big as we used to have on our Gen 1. In our Gen 1, we actually have a water tank that was designed by a third party that goes in there from when we camp and overland. With this, we can't use the water tank. One partitioning space is a little different now. Now when you pop this up, you don't get a little swinging thing that you used to have. Now you get a partition that just kind of comes up like this and stays here. In the front is where now they've started putting the first aid kit. The first aid kit used to be in the trunk of the R1S, but now it's here in the front. So everyone will actually get a little portable pump for filling up your air. But with this all-terrain package, we actually got the air compressor in the trunk, which is what we really wanted. The air compressor is great. The door latches now is a button. So you press this button and the door opens, and then you have the emergency release now. You can actually change the different colors that are in here with the different moods, and you also get the ambient colors that also go inside here, under here. And again, I'll be showing B-roll of all of this at night, and it's really nice that you can actually change the color. My wife actually loves it because we have that in our Land Rover Defender, and that's one of the things that we wish Rivian actually could have done better in Gen 1. A missed opportunity for Rivian was that they could have actually updated the steering wheel. Now they didn't. One thing I think they could have done is they could have at least made it illuminate the little buttons on the left and right, on here and there. In the configurator, the speaker grill used to be white in generation 1, but now in generation 2, they've brought it back. It's actually white and it matches the pillar. And I believe the reason why on generation 1 they really couldn't do this was because of supply chains again. So now the white, if you get the Ocean Coast interior, this white Alcantara, which is fake, really fake plastic that they created, actually matches the grill. So the speaker grills are actually white. Being an audiophile, I've noticed they seem to have upgraded the speakers in here in general. Now this vehicle has the basic sound system, so it doesn't have a subwoofer in the back, but for some reason the sound system sounds a lot better. Rivian has also updated the wireless charging pad. What they did pretty much is I can see that they created a little separation here for the iPhones or any other mobile device you have. But just as I think in my first video when I talked about not buying a Rivian, and that it seems like the wireless charging pads were kind of given to the entrance to design, it seems like they decided to not only give it to the entrance anymore, but they've moved it up to the entrance assistant, because as we all know, wireless charging pads are really great for turning your phone into a hand warmer, because eventually this doesn't really charge very well. It just kind of gets your phone really hot and then it just still slides around. What I wish they had done is if they had taken the route that Tesla did and maybe made a cutout so it sits inside it in some sort of holder here, something that will keep it from just sliding back and forth like this as you drive. The camp speaker is no longer a standard thing that they give you. You now get this little storage bin. I don't mind having the storage bin. It's been nice. It's been a nice place to store some tissues and stuff. And it has a removable plastic insert, but to really pull it out, you have to unlock it here in the center, in the infotainment screen. But it's nice. It's not too bad. I personally will probably buy the camp speaker aftermarket because we go camping and all, and we like it. Removed the driver monitoring camera from here, and so this whole part is now an empty place. I believe the microphones, they've added more microphones in here to make the sound or phone calls a lot better. One thing I do wish they had done, which I think is a missed opportunity, is they could have easily put a sunglasses holder in here to actually compensate for not having a glove compartment. But there are rumors that the cameras are now in here, which I kind of don't know, but I'm not gonna confirm rumors about that. You get to the settings, the big change that you notice that's different from the Gen 1s and the Gen 2s is the ambient lighting. So when you go to displays and lighting, you will now see there is the accent lighting. And when you tap inside the accent lighting, you get all these different things. And what it does is for each one of these that you press, it plays a little sound effect and it changes the color in the ambient lighting. And that's one of the major differences. We are currently on 2024, 23, 30, and the R1T Gen 1 that I have currently is also on the same software. But what makes the difference is whenever I hit drive mode here, one of the things I've noticed here is that in here you get another set of drive mode that I don't see on the Gen 1s. What I see now is I see soft stand. Soft stand is not on my Gen 1 motor. So for some reason, for the dual motor Gen 1, they did not add the soft stand on it. The Rivian R1S Gen 2 Vampire Drain has been dramatically, or should I say miraculously, improved. So these are the results after parking the vehicle at Port of Miami in a garage for about 5-6 days. What I did was I had cellular data turned off on my phone. I turned off location services for the app. I closed out of the app, and let's see what the results are. All right, so when we left, I parked the vehicle at 58%, and we came back 6 days later and it's still at 58%. I didn't have gear guard or any of that stuff turned on at all. All those stuff were off because I was parked in a garage next to other vehicles, so I figured I didn't need gear guard. So yeah, Vampire Drain resolved, and check that ticket complete. We just took a very detailed look at this Rivian R1S Gen 2. This is my personal vehicle, so I've had some time with it. And this video is not sponsored, even though I have 3 Rivians, so I've owned 3 of them, and I currently own 2. I actually prefer this one. I think the Gen 2 R1S is actually what Rivian meant to make. The suspension updates that they've done to it are amazing, and it feels great on the road. So if you're on the fence about it, I would say absolutely get it. Don't get the Gen 1s. I'm not really a big fan of the Gen 1s right now. If I'd be buying right new, I'll probably buy the Gen 2 because the ride feel is better with the new hardware they've done with the hydraulic suspension. It's immensely better. In conclusion, do I like it? Yeah, I do like it. And I'm definitely keeping this one. And this is my personal vehicle, so it's gonna be part of the fleet and off-roading for some time. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the video. And don't comment and subscribe. Just watch the video and enjoy it.